Alexander here with Broadcast Beat. We're at SIGGRAPH 2016 at the Anaheim Convention Center. I'm at the OptiTrack booth with Brian. How are you?
Really good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. I just played basketball with a robot, so that was cool.
Exactly right. Yeah, we're showing a bunch of new people, people who, a lot of them haven't tried any VR at all, and they get to see a tactile experience with a basketball and throw it back and forth, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's fun to see the smiles coming out after you get the HMD off.
Yeah, see, I'm still smiling. It was really fun and it was cool and interesting. So tell me about, you know, the motion and the flow of OptiWorks. How does this help VR with what you guys do?
So what we do is all the HMD manufacturers, Oculus, HTC Vive, they all have their own trackers. They're designed to work in the living room. That's their space. Where we take over is when you want to take an HMD experience or a VR experience outside that, so wide area tracking. So these are typically out-of-home arcade-like experiences. There are a couple of them, The Void, VRcade, HoloViz, and it's kind of like a laser tag environment where you walk into a setup area, throw on your HMD and your backpack that's a computer. In the case of The Void, you walk into an experience with your friends, and it's a completely computer-generated experience. It's gameplay, but they mix physical elements with the CG elements. So they just opened up one for Ghostbusters along with Sony Pictures for that movie release in Madame Tussauds in New York. And they've got lines out the door. It's been open for about 30 days or so. And I can tell you more about that if you want to know. It's pretty exciting.
No, of course, I would love to hear more about it.
Okay, well, so The Void in particular, they mix physical elements with the CG. So you walk in, they have a serpentine, like an Indiana Jones kind of environment. And they have cut concrete or cut block walls. When you reach out and touch a wall, there's a real wall there. And you have to grab a torch, which is just a piece of wood with markers on top that we're tracking. But in your HMD, it's a lit torch with flames. You light another thing that bursts into flames, and you feel the heat on your face because they've got heaters behind it.
Oh my God.
And then you walk into another room, and the floor starts moving, and you're thrust up into this precipice. You think you've gone 2 stories. You've only moved up about 6 or 8 inches. But with the HMD, they trick you, right? And then you're on the edge of this cliff, and the wind's blowing, and the birds are chirping, and you're afraid you're going to fall off. And then what's really happening there is they have fans blowing in your face. So I think people like The Void and VRcade they're defining the out-of-home experience. It's very much an arcade experience. A lot of and that's where we belong. We're not going to be tracking your devices in your living room, but the out-of-home experience in the very large areas. And we can do, if we wanted to track HMDs in this convention center, we could manage that.
Wow, so that sounds amazing. First of all, listening to that experience, I think I would personally freak out. Because I'm afraid of heights, I don't want to catch on fire, and I would just be all like mentally confused.
It's startling. Yeah, I was really surprised. I've been in plenty of HMD experiences, and that one, the mix with the physical elements is really startling. It really gets, my kids are going to love it. I think the general public is ready for that.
Yeah.
And it's more fun than laser tag, right? Because it can be something new every week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I would say so. So with the technology that you guys have, from what I'm hearing is you're able to provide accuracy in the experience?
It's true. So the things that make VR tracking, so HMD and object tracking, the things that those markets want are precision in tracking, so you get nice fluid movement. So when you move your head, even a little bit of detail, then we pick up every nuance of that. So we track the markers in an area like this, and in most areas less than 1/10 of a millimeter, and less than even 0.05 degrees in rotational accuracy. So that's what the HMD manufacturers want to see. But the second one is latency. And we can typically track very large areas in under 5 milliseconds of latency. And when you're throwing the basketball back and forth, in fact, that's why we chose this one.
Yeah.
When you got a basketball flying at you, if the latency is too long, it's going to be a totally different experience. It's a different kind of show out there if you do that, right?
Exactly.
But the reason you can catch it and you can do it quickly is because we're updating, we're doing the tracking very quickly and the rendering into the HMD very quickly, so you can grab the ball flying at you.
Yeah, no, it seemed very real. I was almost confused, only because I couldn't see my hands, but everything was extremely accurate. Tossing the ball to this gentleman and having the ball, it was like very real. So
yeah, and of course we can track the hands if we put markers on them. But I'm the same way. So I'm not a basketball player, so I have to watch when I dribble.
Yeah.
And it's a little disconcerting just watching it bounce up and down with your hands. But we've got some gloves you can throw on your hands and. make that go.
Okay, let's get a little more technical here. Tell me about this.
So these are reflective markers, and the way our cameras work, the cameras down here, we've got about 9 different styles of cameras depending on the resolution and their use case. But basically it throws light onto the subject, infrared light, reflects off these markers. There's no technology here, it's just reflective tape. Back onto the camera, and we compare camera views very quickly and produce 3D points. So right now we're tracking this with sub-millimeter, 0.1 millimeter accuracy for each one of these points, and we can also define its orientation. So that's what's happening with the VR headset, that's what's happening with the basketball, it's what's happening with the skeleton with our performer as well.
Thank you so much for sharing today.
Yeah, thanks for having us, I appreciate that.